the last 2 weeks of vacation. People in America are totally jealous that I spent 6 weeks. But I'm now here in Belgium and having a fantastic time. I just came from America and I have a couple of nice videos for you. First, I have John Holdren, part 3, and he talks about the Paris Accord and how America and China work together intensely behind the scenes. And I'm going to show you some parts of that. The second thing, I'm going to talk about Nantucket. Nantucket is an island where 30,000 houses are. They cost about 3 million apiece, about 60 billion euros in real estate. And what does the municipality do to manage that? They get 100 million from the rich and famous to manage the stuff. And I talked to one of the municipality boards. And thirdly, one of the most enthusiastic persons is Auke Hoekstra. He's a scientist and he talks about how energy transformation happens and how electric driving works. He drives a Nissan Leaf and I gave him 2 weeks my Tesla to drive to Italy back and forth and see how that works. And what he thinks about it, I'm going to show you that in a minute. And fourth, I went to David Patreaus. I saw David Patreaus, the General David Patreaus, in charge of the American troops in Iraq. And I have some really interesting things to say. The last two were Dutch. And last, a great video about Wiebe Wakker. He's from Plug Me In, and he went 3 years ago with his electric car, which was 6-7 years old, which had 100 kilometers a mile in range. And he went to Australia, and he went everywhere in Europe. He went to Middle East, he went to Asia, and now he arrived in Australia. And I'm having the really most first interview for you. So enjoy it as long as you're Dutch. Okay, 4 videos in the newsletter. John Holdren, fantastic guy, advisor of Obama on climate change, but also technology and science. He's giving a third part, a three parts interview. And in the third part, he explains how the Paris Accord came to be and how to get 190 countries agreeing, and how India was involved, how China was involved, how America was involved, what happened behind the scenes. Extremely interesting. Second video is Matthew, who is on the board of the municipality board of Nantucket. So he's going to explain how an island is run, how $100 million is spent, how you deal with billionaires who fly in. There's about 150 private jets flying in the 4th of July. You have Tommy Hilfiger, you have Bill Gates, you have Jack Wells, you have Eric Schmidt. Everybody comes in. And how do you run a municipality like that? So I thought that was really interesting. And then the third one, this is where I talk about David Patreaus. I'm having a speech about David Patreaus also included in the article. And I'm telling you in Dutch what he's talking about. How, when the mistake the Americans made when they invaded Iraq, which is not the invasion itself, but how they solved it and how David Patreaus was trying to fix it. Very interesting, because I mean, it's not about more guns, more people. It's about other way of communications and other people you have to work with. You know, you have to completely be able to protect the local population, accept everybody, don't polarize, and you know. And I basically talk about that in Dutch. Really interesting guy. Fourth, Auke Hoekstra. He's a really enthusiastic EV evangelist in the Netherlands, and he talks about what the difference was driving a Tesla Model X and autopilot and his Nissan Leaf. And then he talks about the future of electric driving in the Netherlands, how fast it goes. He thinks that 50% of the new cars in 2025 is conservative, and he thinks it's going much faster. So that's really an interesting video to take a look at. And take a look at Plug Me In project. Wiebe Wakker just came to Australia. I just want to say, I mean, he took this very old car, which had a 100-kilometer range, and went everywhere. He was on the news in a lot of TV programs. He went to 3 continents, millions of stories, hundreds of videos, great interviews, everything in English. plugmeinproject.com, and yeah, he's got great videos, and he went really everywhere. Look how he went to Norway, and then through the Middle East, and then he basically went to Australia. It's really, really wonderful time to go. You can also visit him on Facebook. So this is the Facebook to Plug Me In. It's a great page with a lot of discussions, and I'm now preparing the video. So he's telling the story, just came in. So enjoy this. Take a look. but it's Dutch. But the Plug Me In site is English, and we'll put in a link in there.